Hello, my name is Wogamash, and I play the trombone. And today on Brass with Mr. G, we're going to kind of walk through a standard warm-up. So, what I like to include in my standard warm-up, and you can kind of play along and listen along and add some of these exercises, and don't use some of these exercises if they don't work for you, but especially for younger players, this is what's really worked for me consistently. As you can see, we're in kind of a larger space today. I always like to warm up in a large space when I get the opportunity, and I'm teaching class in a little bit and had some time, so I'm gonna warm up in here before class, so before rehearsal. So a good warm up, I always like to start with a good buzz. There's different schools of thought on this. Some people like buzzing forte, some people like buzzing piano, some people don't like buzzing at all. I still like to buzz, and I like to buzz pretty forte. It kind of gives a sense of how much air, how much wind you need to use in your wind instrument. So I like to start with some regular old sirens. So here we go. This is just buzzing slowly up and down, starting kind of in your medium range and gradually expanding. And don't forget when you're buzzing to also buzz in your low register. All right, and your buzz doesn't have to sound good because it's going to sound different on your mouthpiece than it does on your instrument. You don't want to have too much tension. And then after I buzz, and these really are my first notes of the day, I always like to start with some long tones, but my long tones are extra long. I always start with a concert B flat. So I'm just going to play a few B flats until they feel really, really clean, and sometimes it's sketchy to get that first note going, so we'll see. You want to play whatever comfortable dynamic for you is. For me, that's usually kind of mezzo forte plus. Some people are softer players, some people are louder players. I'm a pretty loud player. And just think about your tone and your posture, which I need to think about a little bit more, and just playing with the cleanest sound you can, but make sure you're kind of loose and relaxed, all those basics of posture and horn placement and all those things. And then I like to do what we affectionately call here in Northern Virginia the F stretch. It's essentially a Remington warm-up. So I like to gliss them a little bit. So I'm going to demonstrate that, and you can take it and use it if you like. We call it an F stretch here because often in the schools around the counties here in Northern Virginia, they start on F. I always start on B flat. That's just how I like to do it. And I like to do long tones in all of my ranges. So as you become a more proficient player, I encourage you to kind of do the same thing. So it does you good to kind of warm up every range of your instrument. I do use my valve. It's important that you learn to play 6th and 7th position in tune before you use your valve. Some people don't like using their valve at all, their triggers, or whatever you want to call it, when they're warming up, and there's value to that too. Anyway. This is why I use my valve. Notice I'm ending each of these on a B flat. Again, I'm kind of warming up my high range, and I'm going to warm up my pedal range. Yeah, and you always want to use enough air and articulation to make your instrument speak. You notice I had a couple of clams in there. It's because this is an honest warm-up. All right. And then after my long tones, I like to do one very specific lip slur melody. These are from the Brad Edwards book, Lip Slur Melodies. You can pick whichever one you like. I just memorized the first one. I like playing it fairly slow just to play a song. And I just think it's pretty. So kind of remember why we are musicians. Cool. All right. And then we get into more advanced lip slurs and articulation stuff. I'm actually running a little bit long on time here. So for the sake of not making this a 20-minute video, you can always check out some of the other videos I put out about those, or there's a lot of great resources on the internet, and ask your band director, your private teacher, all those. But the general rule for me with lip slurs and articulation exercises and all those things is please use a metronome and start so slow that you can't get it wrong, and then play that metronome game. So anyway, there's a good kind of long tone section of warm up, and happy practicing.